Gina. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a very long, very overdue wrap up. It's basically my May wrap up with a little bit of April, a little bit of June. There's a lot of books. So I'm just gonna jump right on into it. There's some books I'm not gonna go into too many details, and you'll figure out why in a second. I'm not gonna go in any specific order because I just kind of have them stacked up over on my table here, and I'm just gonna grab and talk about them because, yeah. The first three books that I'm going to talk about are all books that I do not physically own. I listen to all of these on Overdrive, which I listen to most of these on Overdrive because Overdrive is basically my life. But the first book is Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. I gave that book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It was kind of meh for me. I didn't absolutely love it like I was wanting to. It was good. I did enjoy it, but it didn't really blow me away. The next book that I do not own physically is Mosquitoland by David Arnold. I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah. I had issues with this book. I did actually really enjoy the road trip aspect because the whole book takes place through this girl's road trip of like running away and trying to figure out life and everything, and that aspect was good. I just had some aspects with the psychological aspects. That's a lot of aspects, but I did have problems with some of the psychological parts of this book that just kind of bothered me. And the last book that I have that I don't physically own to talk about is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I just finished listening to this not that long ago and I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. There were some things that just didn't click with me completely, but I did really enjoy it and I can't wait to dive into book 2. I did really enjoy this. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and this trilogy follows the boy named Fitz and kind of his journey of becoming an assassin, and the whole first book was basically his childhood and what happened to him and how he grew up, and I just really loved it. I loved the world, I loved Fitz, I loved all of the characters. There was a certain point towards the end of the book that you find something out that you thought something else happened in the beginning of the book, and I was so excited. I even started tearing up a little bit, and I was at work and one of my coworkers looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" And I had to explain why I was getting teary-eyed for this thing happening because it wasn't what we thought happened at the beginning of the book, and they all just looked at me like I was nuts because I gave them no background on the rest of the story at all, just this one point. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. Like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to get to books 2 and 3. And now for the rest of the books that I have that I actually do physically own. Most of these were audiobook reads. Some of them I kind of did both, and then some of them I did physically read. The first 6 that I have here are the last books in the Series of Unfortunate Events series, books 8 through 13. Yeah, I finally finished the series. It's been a ride. I wanted to finish it last year, didn't get around to it, finally finished it this year, and I'm not going to go into each of these individually. I will give you my rating for them individually. Book 8, which is The Hostile Hospital, I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Book 9, which is The Carnivorous Cannibal, I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Book 10 and 11, The Slippery Slope and The Grim Grotto, I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. And the last 2 books, The Penultimate Peril, yeah, Penultimate Peril, I always get that title wrong, and The End, I both gave 4 out of 5 stars. Though The End I'm kind of leaning towards 3.5-ish. It just built up to so much happening, and then not a lot happened. It was very lackluster. It was very underwhelming. I was expecting so much more out of the last book, and it was just kind of there. So I was just kidding. There are actually 4 books that I don't physically own. The actual last one that I don't physically own is The Fireman by Joe Hill. It is the book that I just finished yesterday, and it was a push to finish it because it was due back in Overdrive. I did not want to go back on the hold for it because I was really enjoying it, and it's been quite a challenge finishing this book, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It kind of slagged in the middle for me a little bit to where I just wanted to get to the next thing that was happening, but overall I did really enjoy it. The next book that I read, which is actually probably the first one since my last wrap up is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, The Sword of Summer, the first book in Rick Riordan's new Magnus Chase series, and there is a deaf character in this as well who also uses ASL to communicate and teaches our main character Magnus to also communicate with ASL. And I really enjoyed this because he actually went through and explained various different signs, and I know some very basic ASL. I'm trying to learn more. Just, it still hasn't happened. I've been trying to learn for years, but I do know some basic signs. So there were some parts where he would be explaining, oh, he's doing this with his hands, this is what this means, where I knew what that sign was before he said what it meant. Or I was able to visualize what that sign actually was and what he was saying, which was actually pretty cool and pretty awesome to see in a book. It was just a lot of fun. It's definitely Rick Riordan's writing, which I do enjoy. I have read the first set of Percy Jackson books, so I'm pretty excited for when book 2 comes out to kind of finish the story. I did really enjoy this, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I have is a reread, and that is Rainbow Rowell's Fangirl. Fangirl follows Kath and her first year of college, and it's all about her trying to figure life out without her twin sister being her roommate, and she writes fan fiction which has stemmed Rainbow Rowell's Carry On, which I also have read. And let me tell you, it's definitely interesting reading the Carry On Simon aspects in this book and being able to connect it to the actual book Carry On that is now out. It's very interesting. I kind of tried skipping over most of the Simon Snow parts because I really don't care and they don't add that much to the story. So what little I did get to hear, because I was listening to it on audiobook, was bits and pieces of like the beginning of the Simon Snow thing, and there are parts in Carry On that I was completely baffled by and didn't see coming that are mentioned in this book. It shouldn't have been a surprise in Carry On because they're mentioned in here. I did not change my rating. I'm pretty sure I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars the first time listening to it. If not, then I did change my rating because it's definitely a 5 out of 5 stars. I just needed a contemporary and something fun, and I love this book. I love Rainbow Rowell, so this definitely is what I needed for whenever I needed it. The next book I have here is one that I'm super excited about and I loved so much, and that is John Corey Whaley's Highly Illogical Behavior. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. It follows two main characters, Solomon and Lisa, and basically how they meet and how they help each other, just kind of living life. And it follows again through a year or so, maybe a little less than a year, and it was fantastic and amazing and I loved it. I do plan on doing a book talk for this, so keep an eye out for that. Hopefully I will actually do that. The next book I have is another reread, and it's a reread immediately following the physical read, and because I listened to it on audiobook for the reread, and that is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. Again, I love these books so much. They're amazing and incredible, and rereading this on audio, you pick up even more that you don't pick up the first time around, just like all of the rest of her books. And I kept this at a 5 out of 5 stars for very obvious reasons. The next two books that I read are picture books, and that is The Sandman and Jack Frost by William Joyce. These are very cute stories, very short, simple stories because they are picture books. The art is amazing and I loved it, and I can definitely see rereading these time and time again. And the last book for this very long wrap up is Beauty and the Beast by Walt Disney. The Story of Belle. There is no actual author on this. This is basically just a very condensed version of the movie, which is my favorite Disney movie. Belle is my favorite princess. I just love her so much, and it does have the artwork from the movie, but I'm pretty sure like they was drawn separately. So like here's Be Our Guest and the Wolf and Gaston, or Beast and Gaston. And it was just really fun to read and look through, and just like with the picture books, I can see myself reading this time and time again because Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorites. And that is all I have for this very long wrap up. I'm going to try to keep my wrap up short again. Hopefully I will get back into the swing of recording. Life, we'll see what happens. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And I did not change my rating. Hello.